provide tax credits for private school scholarships advanced in the Nebraska legislature today.
Senators voted 31-12 to advance LB 753. The Opportunity Scholarships Act would set aside $25 million for tax credits in the first year. Experts predict the program would grow to $39 million in 2 years. The bill now faces 2 more rounds of voting, with the next phase being enrollment and review. An amendment proposed by Senator Megan Hunt failed to pass. It would have added anti-discrimination language to the proposal.
And in